In the Gemara Mem Amud Beis, we begin where it says Amar Abami. Actually, according to some other girses, it's Amar Rovin, connected to what was said before. This is in the middle of the Agadah of the Gemara here, where it talks about all kinds of details regarding Bika Chaylim. And it brought before a few statements that the Rovin said in the name of Rav. So here's another inyan, which is not really related to Bika Chaylim, but the Gemara is going to come back to the inyan of Bika Chaylim. Omar Abami or Omar Rovin, Omar Rav, Mai Dechsiv, what's the pshat in the pasuk where the Eibusha tells Yecheskel, V'ata ben adam aseilecha kli goyla, and now make for yourself a vessel to go into exile. This was part of the nevuah that the Yidden will be exiled from Eretz Yisrael, from Yerushalayim. What is this kli goyla? What is this vessel? Zuner v'kaira v'shatiach. This refers to a person that when he exiles from his home, he has to take with him a lamp, a bowl, and a shatiach, which is a rug or some hide that you can sit on to eat, or you can lie in it to sleep. So these are the basic things that a person needs when he goes in exile. Then he dashed also, it says b'chaysa kail. What does b'chaysa kail mean? This is actually in the Teichecha, and it says that the Yidden are going to be lacking everything. It already says before there in the pasuk that Eibush will send that there'll be rav, tzama, be'erum, which already means that erum, you have nothing. So what's the added thing of b'chaysa kail? Omar Avami Omar Rav b'loy ner u b'loy shulchan. That's if a person doesn't even have a lamp or a table. Rav Chista Omar b'loy isha. When a person doesn't have a wife, that's lacking everything. Rav Sheishes Omar b'loy shamish. He doesn't have someone to serve him. Rav Nachman Omar b'loy deya. Chaysa kail is when a person is lacking knowledge. Deya. As we know what it says in Chassidus, what's the taich of deya? It's not the chachma and bina, not the wisdom, but deya means to really connect to what a person understands. When you know how to take it to heart and know how to take responsibility for what you understand, that's the idea of deya. When a person doesn't have that aspect of understanding, that's lacking everything. Tana and a braisi we learned b'loy melach or b'loy revav. If a person has no salt or he has no oil, that's chaysa kail. Amar Abaye. So Abaye said, in connection to what we just said, b'loy deya, naktinon. We know the following: Ein ani ela b'deya. Who's considered to be really poor? Someone that has no deya, has no das, has no knowledge, or has no real ability to understand and connect to things. And the Marsha actually says that what Abai means to say is that the translation of the word poor originally in Lashon Kodesh refers to the lack of das. The fact that ani today is used regarding a person that's poor financially, money-wise, that's a borrowed term. That's not the real concept. B'marava Omri. In Eretz Yisrael, they would say the following: Didabe kulabe. If you have this, if you have das, so you have everything. Deloy dabe. If you do not have das, mabe. What do you have? Everything else you have is worthless. Da kani. If you've acquired this, if you've acquired das, ma chase. What are you lacking? Da loy kani. If you have not acquired das, ma kani. What have you acquired? So the double lashon that the Gemara over here says, the Mefarshim say, some Mefarshim say, the pshat is that there's a person that has deya naturally from birth, and therefore if he has it, he has all. But then it's also saying that deya is an attribute that could be acquired. If a person has a lack of das, and this is something that a person can work on and acquire it, and if you acquire it, you acquire all. Amar Rab Alexandri, Amar Rab Chia Barabe, Ein Achoyle Oymid Mechol Yoi At Shemoichlon Loi Kolav Enosav. So coming back to the subject of Bika Chaylim. So a person that's sick, so he doesn't get healed and get up from his sickness until the Eibishter forgives him for all of his sins. Shenema, as the pasuk says, Aseleach l'chol avinechi, that the Eibishter forgives all of my sins. Haroife l'chol tachloichi, and the Eibishter heals all of my illness. So for a person to be healed, the Eibishter has to forgive his sins. Rav Nuna says, Chayzer limei alumov, a person that gets healed from his sickness, so he becomes like born again. He becomes like a child that's born from his youth. Again, the point of here is because he was forgiven for all his sins. So now when he's healed, so he goes back to his youthfulness. Shenema, as the pasuk says, Rutafesh b'sarai minoyar yoshev limei alumov. So Rutafesh b'sarai, the word Rutafesh is a combination of two words, which means rotuv. That's what the Mefarish over here says. Rotuv upash, which means that your body becomes moist again, and pash means that your body will expand again. Pash is pusha v'suge, that your body expands again. And you'll be like in your times of your youth, Yimei Alumov. That's what happens when a person gets healed from a sickness and the Eibishter forgave him. Then the pasuk says, Kol Mishkavoi, there's another pasuk in another place in Tilim, Kol Mishkavoi hafachta b'chol yoy. Some are goyres this pasuk here, some are not goyres this pasuk here. But it literally means that a person, his bed has been turned over from his sickness. So what does this mean? Amar Rav Yosef taish this pasuk. Loima, this pasuk tells you the meshakeyach limudai. When a person becomes sick, he forgets what he learned. And he taiched this pasuk. Mishkavai refers actually not to his bed, but Mishkavai refers to all the words of Torah that he had lying in his head or in front of him that were clear to him. It all gets turned over when he gets sick. There's another pshat that Rishonim say that you're not goyres this pasuk, and what Rav Yosef was saying is connected to the previous pasuk, Yemei Alumov, and they teach that Alumov is in the negative sense that when you learn Torah, it becomes nelam. The Torah that he learns becomes concealed from the person. He forgets his Torah. And the Gemara here brings what happened to Rav Yosef himself. Rav Yosef chalash. Rav Yosef became sick. And then his learning, all of his learning, he forgot. Ahadre Abaye Kamei. Abaye, his student, came and he chazed, he reviewed all of the learning that he learned from his Rebbe Rav Yosef. And Hainu the Bechal Duchta Amrina. This is what you have many times in the Gemara. It says, Amar Rav Yosef leishmir leadosh ma'iter. Rav Yosef said, I never heard this halacha. Abaye taught something, and Rav Yosef said, well, I never heard this before. And Amar le Abaye, and Abaye tells Rav Yosef, Atam risen elon. You're the one that taught this to us. And you proved it to us from this and this braisa. So that's what happened to Rav Yosef when he got sick. Another story the Gemara says in connection to this as well, Ki have a gomer Rebbe, when Rebbe would teach Torah, so tlas esri ape ilchasa agmerei le Rab Chia. He taught Rab Chia 13 different ways of how you could learn every halacha. So shiva minhain l'soiv chalash Rebbe. So 7 of these ways, what happened is, in the end, when the Rebbe got sick, Ahade Rab Chia kamei. Rab Chia reviewed and told Rebbe 7 of the ways that he had taught him. So Haneshivi apid agmerei. Again, I didn't read it correctly over here. Okay, again, sorry, let me go back a second. So Rebbe, when he would learn the halachas, he would learn it in 13 different ways. Now he only taught Rab Chia 7 of those 13 ways. He didn't teach him all 13. Again, Rab Chia shivim agmerei, Rab Chia shivim minhai. He taught Rab Chia 7 of those 13 ways. Now, l'soiv cholash Rebbe got sick and he forgot the Torah that he learned. So those 7 ways that Rebbe taught him, he was able to review it back to Rebbe. Azdo. But then 6 of these ways that he taught or that he himself learned got lost because he didn't have Rab Chia to review it for him. So there was this launderer that was doing the work in Rebbe's house. So he would hear Rebbe. When Rebbe was learning for himself, he overheard Rebbe teaching the Torah, all the 13 ways that he taught. So Rab Chia went to this launderer and learned all the other ways that he didn't learn from Rebbe. He heard it now from this launderer, the additional 6 ways. And then and he came back to Rebbe and he taught the Rebbe the other 6 ways that he himself didn't learn from Rebbe, that he heard from this launderer. When Rebbe saw this launderer, so Rebbe told him, Ata asisa aisi veschia. You have made me an Rab Chia. So the source of this concept is here the Mefarish brings, just like it says by Avram Avinu. When Avram Avinu taught people Torah, he taught people about the Eibusher, so he has made them. He has created them, so to speak. So too over here, you teach someone Torah, you have made him. So Rebbe says to this launderer, in your schos, you have made me and you have made Rab Chia. Ikid Amri, others say, Hachi Kamale. This is what he said to this launderer. Ata Sisa Eschia. You taught Chia the 6 ways that he learned from you. And Navachia Sa'isi. And Chia has made me when Chia came and taught me. So in other words, Rebbe was telling this launderer, I didn't learn directly from you. I learned from Chia that learned from you. And the Maharal says over here in this Chedusha Agadus on the Gemara that the Gemara is bringing these 2 versions because there's an Afkamina B'Payil where the Rebbe is obligated now to give honor to this launderer as someone that taught him Torah. Do you say because he learned from Chia that learned from the launderer, so he has to give him honor like his teacher? Or no, it was indirect, so therefore he doesn't have to give him that honor. No. V'amar Rab Alexandri, Amar Rab Chia Barabe, Godel Nes Shenase L'Chayle, the miracle that the Eibishter does for a person that's sick and he heals him is greater, even more than the miracle that the Eibishter saved Chananya and Mishael v'Azariah from a furnace of fire. Why? Because Chananya, Mishael v'Azariah, Eish shel Hedyet. Chananya, Mishael and Azariah, they are in a fire that is here, created in this world. So that's something the Eibishter it's easier to save from it. It's a fire that anybody could extinguish. But the fire, in other words, the fever and the heat that there is in the body of a person that's sick, that's something that comes from heaven. Who is able to extinguish this? So this is something that you have to daven much stronger for the Eibishter to take away your sickness. When it comes the end of the time of the life of a person, so then all kinds of forces in nature that the Eibishter sends are able to affect the person to take away his life. Shenema, as it says, when Cain said, when the Eibishter said that he deserves to die, so Cain says, if so, whoever will encounter me will kill me. Because here you see when a person that comes the person's time that his life is up, so all kinds of things will come and take away his life, even things that he may not expect. Rav learned it out from another pasuk, from this pasuk here. It says, "L'mishpatecha amdu hayom ki hakol avadecha." When a person is being judged, and his day is today, his time is up, so hakol avadecha. All different kinds of things in the nature of the world become the servants of Hashem to take away this person's life. And the Gemara here brings two stories that illustrate this. Rabbi Bashila, so Amrulay, they said to Rabbi Bashila about what happened. Shachav Gavra, this person passed away. How did he pass away? Gavoya Hava, he was a tall, strong person. And Rochiv Girduna Zutra, and he was riding on the small mule. Mata Titura, he was riding over a bridge, Istavit, and this mule went wild, and Shadye, threw him off the bridge. And the Kashachev, and that's how he passed away. So here you see a strong person, this little mule ended up causing him to die. Kari al nafshei, so he said about this person, that because this person's day came, that he was judged to pass away on that day, so this little mule came and threw him over the bridge. Another story the Gemara says, Shmuel Chazye lahahu, the gears over here in the Gemara is, lahu akreve, the yasiva al akruksa. He saw the scorpion that was sitting on top of a small frog. And that's how it crossed through the river. What happened when it came to the other side of the river? Tarka gavre umayis. And it bit a person, the scorpion bit a person, and that person died. So again, Kari Alei, so Shmuel said regarding this person, look, that this person was judged to die today, and therefore the Eibishter uses a little frog that the scorpion will go on top of it and cross the river in order that this person, his time has come. Shmuel says, you should not, coming back to Bika Chaylim, so you should not go and visit someone that's sick, only someone that's overcome by fever. So lafukimai, what does he mean to say? What does this come to exclude? So in other words, the Gemara's understanding is that it doesn't mean only somebody that has a fever you should visit and anybody else you should not. So what is he coming to exclude? Lafukia detanya comes to exclude of other certain sicknesses that it's not appropriate to visit this person. As Rabbi Yossi said, Rabbi Yossi ben Prata mishum Rabbi Eliezer. Don't visit somebody that has intestinal illness. Someone that has illness in his eyes, or someone that has a headache. So the Gemara explains, not to visit someone that has intestinal sickness. It's embarrassing for him that he has to run to the bathroom all the time and he can't have visitors. Someone that has illness in his eyes or has a headache, so my time, why shouldn't he have visitors? So the Gemara explains, Mishum de Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda dibure kashe le'ene. When a person has a sickness in his eyes, so speaking is very bad for this. And the same thing also with a headache. And therefore, a person that has an illness in his eyes or a headache should not have visitors because that's going to force him to talk and it's not good for him. But the Gemara says a person that's talking is actually good for a person that has a fever. That helps release or helps relieve the fever. Rava said, Hi ishta. When a person has a fever, if not for the fact that we know that the fever, that the person is sick, is really an agent of the malach hamavis that's overcoming the person, So really, maile kichizre ledikli. This is something which is beneficial for the body. To have a fever every once in a while is actually good for the body, like chizre ledikli. So, which is like these thorns that are, these that are around a palm tree, which protect it from different things that will come and ruin the tree. So too, even though thorns seem to be something which is negative, but nevertheless it's a protection for the tree. Fever, once in a while, is also a protection for the person. Chad letlas niyamin, once in 30 days. It's like a cleansing for the person. And he adds v'chitiryaki legufe. It's like a tiryaki, which is some kind of a potion or some kind of a medicine that's beneficial for the body. But Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said, Loi hi v'loi tiryaki. I don't want not this fever and not its beneficial aspects of it, that it's like a medicine for the body. I don't want this. Amar Rabba bar Yonasan, Amar Rav Yechiel, Arsen yofe l'choyle l'refuasei. Arsen is good for a sick person to heal him. My arsen, what is this arsen? Amar Rav Yonasan, so Rav Yonasan said, arsen is chushle desari atikta, peeled barley, old peeled barley, the reish nafye, from the first that comes out from the sieve when you sift it. And Amar Abaya added to this, but bayim bishula ke'em bisra de tura, but it has to be very well cooked, like when you cook the meat from an ox, which is meat that has to be cooked very well. Rav Yosef had a different version of what this arsen is. Smidi desari atikta, it's the fine flour that comes from old barley. The reish nafya, the first that comes out from what you sift. Amar Abaya, again Abaya said, bayim bishula ke'bisra de tura, it has to be cooked well, like the meat of an ox. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, bardam, ein mevakrem. A person that has bardam, which means, it's a combination of two words, a pit that blood flows from it. In other words, a person that blood is flowing from his body, from the bottom of his body, so you should not, if that is the person's illness, you should not visit him. Ve'ein maskirin shmai, and you shouldn't mention it in public about the illness that he has because it's embarrassing. My time, because he's like a wellspring that flows, and it's embarrassing for him that he has to go and relieve himself, and he doesn't want any visitors. Rabbi Lazar said, Lama nikra shmai bardam. What's this name of the sickness, bardam? Shu kemayan aniveya. Bardam means like a pit that has blood that flows, and it's like a wellspring that flows, and therefore you should not be visited. Okay, so you see, if you just conclude the whole sugya that we learned here about Bika Chaylim, that you see regarding Bika Chaylim, that there are different aspects to what Bika Chaylim is. There's one union of Bika Chaylim to be there with the person, and like we had before, Rabbi Kiva, to take care of the person, a person that's alone and he's neglected, nobody's taking care of him. So one aspect of Bika Chaylim is to take care of him. Another aspect of Bika Chaylim is that when you come to a person, you take away some of his sickness. You had before, by a bengilo, you mamish take away his 60th, but you take away some of his sickness. There's another aspect of Bika Chaylim, which is the fact that now that you see his condition, this will bring you to daven for him. It's the third aspect of Bika Chaylim. So these are the different aspects, and this is connected. There's a famous shaila regarding Bika Chaylim. Could you be also Yaitza Bika Chaylim, or is there at least some kind of fulfillment of Bika Chaylim, even with a phone call, or today with a text? Is that also, so depends what aspect of Bika Chaylim. Maybe there could be some aspect of Bika Chaylim even if you're not physically there with the person. And according to what we learned here in the Gemara, in some situations, the only way really to do Bika Chaylim is not by coming and visiting the person personally because he can't handle visitors, but even a phone call, so on, is also a Bika Chaylim. Okay, going back to what it said in the Mishnah regarding a person that made a neder. So the Mishnah said that if there's a neder between you and your friend, umerapeyu refuas hanefesh cholo. So you may come and heal him, refuas hanefesh, to heal him, the person, refuah of his soul. But the Gemara said not refuas mammon, not refuah of money. So what does this mean? So heichi ketani. What does the Mishnah mean to say? If you're going to say the pshat in the Mishnah is the refuas nefesh means bechinam. Refuas nefesh means a doctor that comes and heals this person for free of charge. And the Ran actually says that it's actually hinted in the words refuas nefesh. Refuas nefesh means that you're just feeling it, you're healing him. That is out of your nefesh. Nefesh means your will. You have that's your will to do it for this person without any charge. Bechinam. And refuas mamay means b'schar. Refuas mamay means a doctor that charges for healing the person, and that's the difference over here. In other words, what it would mean is that the Gemara now understands we're speaking about a case where the doctor is the one that the neder is that the doctor may not have a naw from the patient. So in such a case, what the Mishnah would be saying is, so if you're healing the patient for free, so you're getting no anor from the patient, so you may heal him. But if you're healing the patient and you're charging him, so you're getting money from him, so therefore you may not heal him. But the Gemara says that can't be the pshat, because if so, listni hachi, let the Mishnah clearly say, mirapeyu b'chinam avaloi b'schar, that you can heal him free of charge, but you may not heal him and charge him. Why does it use a term of nefesh versus mammon? It's a very unusual lashon. Ella, therefore the Gemara says the pshat is different. The case over here actually is not that the doctor may not have a no from the patient, but the neder wasn't the reverse. That the patient may not have a no from the doctor. And therefore what the Mishnah is saying is, Refuas nefesh means gufay, that you may heal the person himself. Right? So even though the patient may not have a no from you, but to heal him is a mitzvah. You're healing a yid. So that's not called a no. But refuas mamai means behemtai. If he has an animal that's sick and you're a veterinarian and you're there to heal the animal, that's not allowed. Omer Abzutre bar tuvye. 1 second before I go weiter, the Ran actually says an interesting thing, and there's a big machlekes rishonim about this. There's a huge discussion. When the Gemara here says refuas mamai, which is behemtai, the Ran says that that's only in a situation that there's another doctor that's able to heal this animal that he owns. Then you're not allowed to heal. But if you're the only veterinarian that's able to heal this pet that he has, so then you're actually allowed. And he says it's similar to what we learned before in the Gemara, that even in a case where there is a neder, hashavas aved is allowed. Why? Because hashavas aved is a mitzvah. I'm not giving him something that's not his. It's his. Well, I'm just doing a mitzvah, returning it to him. So he says that this is not less than hashavas aved. That's the Ran's shitta. But there's other rishonim that disagree and say that this is not called Ashavas Aveda. Aveda is the object as is. You're just giving it back to him. Over here, his pet that's sick and is going to die, and healing it is much more than just Ashavas Aveda, and it's not going to be allowed even if you're the only doctor around. The Gemara concludes, Amar Zutre Bartuvia Amarav, that even in a case where you can't heal his animal, because there's a neder, but you could give him information. You can tell him Sam Pleni Yafala, that this potion or this medicine is good for it, and Sam Pleni Rala, and another medicine is not beneficial for it. You can give him advice. That just giving him advice is not considered to be a hana that's included in your neder, that the healing actually is animal. Okay, so Deilige Mishnah, continuing over here on this subject. When there's a neder, but there's still certain things that you are allowed to do for this person or with this person that's not allowed to have a nor from you. You may bathe in a big bath together in the same place, and it's not considered to be that they're having a nor from one another. But not if it's in a small bath, because the reason is, if it's a very small bath, so then the level of the water rises, and you're giving him more water, so to speak. Or even you're heating up the water by your body temperature, being in the water with him, so that's not allowed. V'yashani may b'mita, you're allowed to sleep with him in the same bed, and it's not considered to be giving him a no. Rabbi Yehuda says it depends. B'may sachama. That's only in the summer months. So then he doesn't get any benefit of your body temperature when you're in the same bed as him. Avaloi b'may sagishamim. But not during the winter, when the fact that you're sleeping in the same bed as him, so you warm him. You give him pleasure, you warm him. You may sit with this person that's not allowed to have a nor from you on the same bed. And this is in those times when they used to sit on these like big couches or big beds, and that's how they would eat. And he could eat with you. The fact that he's sitting on the same bed in the same place and eating is not any pleasure for him. Ala shulchan, you could eat on the same table. Avoloi min hatamchoy, but not from the same tamchoy. Tamchoy means when you're eating by somebody and there's this big serving bowl that being served to two people, and there's you and this other person that's not allowed to have a nor from you, or you're not allowed to have a nor from him, and you're eating from the same bowl. So over here, if you leave over, and he's going to have more to eat because of you leaving over for him, so that's considered to be that he's getting a nor from you. But you are allowed to eat together with this person that may not have a nor from you if it's from this big tamchoy, from this big serving bowl, that not all of it is going to be eaten. A lot of it is returned back to the kitchen. So anyways, there's a lot of leftovers. So the fact that you're going to leave over for him is not any anor that you're giving him, because anyways, there's a lot of leftovers there as it is. Tanya, in a Braisa, we learned more details over about this, that it says, La yirchatzimoy ba'ambati, that this person that's not allowed to have anah from you, so don't bathe with him in the same bath, and v'lo yashnime b'mita, and not to sleep with him in the same bed, ben gedola, ben ketana, whether it's a large bed, a smaller bed, close to him and not close to him, it doesn't make a difference. Divrei Rab Meir, this is Rab Meir's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says, gedola, if it's a large bed, so, or maybe it's referring to a large bath. B'maisa geshamim. So it's referring to the bed, right? I believe it's referring to the bed, huh? Yeah. So in the winter, b'maisa geshamim, in the winter, so that's allowed. And v'ketana b'maisa chama, and a smaller bed in the summer, it's allowed. Okay? Again, because in the summer he doesn't need your heat, your body temperature. So then even in a small bed, you're not giving him any hana. So mutter, it's allowed. You may bathe with him in a big bath because it's so big, and therefore he gets the water level doesn't rise so much, or the heat that your body temperature gives doesn't give him any hana. A different type of bath, which is not really made for washing, but just like a schwitz bad that's called today, or a sauna, something like that. So that's even in a small one, your body temperature doesn't add anything, it doesn't give him any heat. Like it said in the Mishnah, you could recline with him and sit with him on the same bed or on the same couch. You could eat with him ala shulchan, by the same table, but not from the same bowl of food that's being served for all the people together. But if this is a bowl of food that's given a lot of food and there's a lot of leftovers that goes back into the kitchen, so then you're allowed to eat from that same bowl. What does this mean when it says tamchoy ha-chayzer? Tamchoy ha-chayzer lebalabayis. When these two people are being hosted by somebody and he's serving them food and there's a lot of leftovers that goes back into the kitchen, so then you're allowed to eat together. So one more Mishnah over here. Sagt der Heilige Mishnah, La yoichal imoy min ha'evos shelifnei ha'paylim. Do not eat with somebody that you have a neder, that he may not have a nar from you, so don't eat from him from this avis. Avis is usually a throw that's for animals, that they eat from this place. It's like a very big place where you put a lot of food. But this is over here, we're talking about this, it's placed for workers, that this is where they get their food over there every day. So you're not allowed to eat together with someone that you have a neder from this place. And the reason is, even though there's a lot of food there, but usually these workers eat a lot, and therefore they don't leave over anything. So whatever you're going to leave over is going to go for this other person that is not allowed to have enough from you. You should not do with him the work in the field on the same row. Divrei Rab Meir. That's what Rab Meir says. As the Gemara will explain, when you do the work on the same row, so you end up softening the ground for him, and then he's going to do the work. You're making the work easier for him, so he's having enough from you. The Chachamim say, you're allowed to do work with a person that may not have enough from you on the same row, but as long as there's a distance between you and him. If these two people that are not allowed enough from each other, so they're doing the work on the same row and they're very close to each other, no one will disagree that it's not allowed because you're making it soft for the other person, you're making it easier for him. Kipligi, where was the argument here in the Mishnah? When you're doing work on the same row and it's a little far. Rab Meir says, as excited, if you do work on the same row, even though you're far, you may come too close to him and do work in a way that you'll give him anah. Now you make the earth soft in front of him and it makes his work easier. But Rabbanan say, we don't have this gzeira, as long as you stay a distance, so therefore you're not softening the earth for him, it's allowed. You're not giving him any anah.
When Rachav